It makes me wonder if this person doesn't realize that they need to take immediate action with you. But the problem is with the Hangman, we're talking about a relationship that is in limbo, right? It's not really knowing what to decide here, right? We're not in a place where immediate action can be taken, but I think that, this is kind of like getting past that here with the way that this person comes out. But that's only because there's like a very small opportunity being presented here. And I think it's you. I think it's you going, okay, look, this is what little bit we have. We can build on this. And there is the passion and the want to do that, but they have to take the action here. But I also look at the Knight of Swords as like direct, honest communication though too. But it's very specifically about how this person feels. But, it's interesting with the Hangman being the overall on this, What is it that we need to figure out here before things can move forward? The way that you come into this, you're coming into this being hopeful that if this person, decides to follow through with some plans, that things could go very well. With the Two of Wands, this is about, this person needing to make a decision here on what they're going to do as far as this relationship. But, this is wanting to take action here. But there are things that are being planned. Now, the way that you meet in the relationship, there are certain things that I think that have put the relationship on hold before. But I think that you're willing to move on from it because this person is wanting to kind of close the door on the past. They don't want the relationship to die with judgment. And I do think that, there is this need for them to kind of like give themselves a moment to see things differently with the Hangman. Again, seeing a different perspective on the relationship. But, this is like reviewing everything. But in order to close the door on issues from the past, we're trying to get to that completion point with the World here and things being successful moving forward. You're in a place, I think, especially with the Star kicking it off, where Pisces feels like they're okay with moving on from whatever issues there were. It's like, no conflict here. There's no more conflict. We're moving into a more calmer state with this person. But there may be a part of you that, you're going to have to be okay with that, right? But I don't think it's an issue because you move into the Chariot where if this person is open emotionally to you or expressing the way that they feel with the King of Cups, first of all, they're coming from a place of wisdom for sure. And some understanding of what has gone on between the two of you before. I think for you, it's easy to move forward with this. There's a sense of direction now. And for Pisces, it's like, let's move forward with this. Distance may be an issue, and that may be putting the relationship on hold. That's easy enough to say with the Chariot, right? Long distance relationships. But I look at this as we have a sense of direction now. Let's pick up the pace. And you make a small offer, I think, with the Page of Pentacles. And this is like wanting to build. Here's what little bit we have now. What are we going to do with this? With the Knight of Wands, there is like a lot of passion and direct action being taken. And I don't know, the Knight of Swords, I get this feeling that this person realizes that they're going to have to do something. Especially with the Hangman being the overall. Whatever's been holding up this relationship, it's time now to start acting toward that. But this is the action that's being taken only because you were willing to move on from issues in this relationship. And you want to give it a sense of direction. Let's move forward with this. Here's this little bit. What are we going to do with it? Or what are you going to do with it? And then the Four of Wands, Pisces. Wow. Yeah, I would say that you want to build some stability here. But it's really about this person needing to step up. So, and I feel like there's a sense of urgency with this on this person's part once they have like this wake up, right? But this is the both of you, though, seeing things differently about this relationship. What has been putting this on hold? But there's some definite forward movement here coming out for sure. The Moon, this all is you facing the fears that you may have had when it comes to wanting to build a relationship with anybody, not just this person, right? Facing the things that you've been suppressing those emotions that you've been keeping down, or the fears that you may have had, right? I always look at this moon as this person's coming back from the dark. Like, you know, I'm not going to let these unrealistic fears and anxieties control me. And that is the wake-up call for you, and that maybe I do need to make this small offer here to see where things go, because with the Four of Wands, yeah, we're talking about stability in the relationship, accomplishing something, establishing this relationship, right? You know, and for some of you, it's literally like fears and anxieties. I'm moving in together, though, too. You know, this often indicates people who are living together. But it's more about, you know, this stability here, and there's this celebration, right? And this accomplishment here. But it's because this person starts putting in the effort. I think that this is somebody who really needed to, you know, start getting control over what has been going on in their own life, because that may have been preventing them from taking action with you. But I feel like there's a sense of urgency here. Now, with the Ten of Pentacles here, this is like, once you come out and make this offer, them realizing that this could be something very long-term, secure, and stable. And, you know, this may be also something, though, that they're communicating to you where that may have been a fear for you. You know, it's one or the other. But you, because of them stepping up here and wanting to, you know, take control, this is like, okay, so the past is the past. You know, it's rising above that kind of crap. And again, it's the both of you having like this huge wake-up call. We need to leave things where they are in the past, and we're moving forward now. But you're moving to a place where they're wanting to work on things, you're wanting stability, you know. And I almost look at this as like, it was worth the effort. It was worth the effort to see, you know, this kind of accomplishment here. But there is like a sense of urgency, I think, to take action with this Knight of Swords. You know, and I also think that it's you being very truthful and very clear to them. Like, look, you know, if we have this passion, let's move forward with it. But we're talking about long-term security and stability and really building this relationship. I think there may be some fears, though, with you in terms of, you know, really building this, moving in. You know, it just depends on what your situation is. But it looks good, Pisces. It doesn't look bad. It's just that this person, I think, and then you have the Six of Pentacles, but there's an apology for that. It's interesting. And this may be where we need to give this a chance. So with the Seven of Cups, it's interesting because you're like in this pattern or this routine with the Four of Cups with this person. But the thing is you can see how good the relationship could be. That's the Seven of Cups, fantasizing about how a relationship would be with someone. But you're in this pattern and routine with them, and the relationship isn't being realized. Now, when an offer is made with the Two of Swords, it's turned down. And with the King of Cups, we are talking about somebody who has a lot of feelings for you for them. But extending, you know, an offer it's being rejected. But what's interesting is as soon as that happens, it's like an apology comes through, because this person, I think their emotions kind of went out. And it's like, I'm sorry that I couldn't give you what you wanted before. Now I can. You know, it's like, now I want to accept the offer. I'm sorry that I turned it down before. And then the Star, there is hope and healing coming out here. All right. So Pisces, you know, this could be you or it could be the other person. This feels fluid, so it could go either way. With the Moon, again, it's being in fantasy land and not really, you know, facing reality when it comes to your relationships or a relationship in particular here, where there's this routine. We got to break this routine, right? But the only way to do that is to get out of this illusion of what the relationship isn't. You know, I always say that if you can fantasize about how good something can be, then you can realize that. But you may be in a place of, you know, fantasizing about something that isn't realistic with this person. The other thing that I say is don't project fantasies onto other people that they can't live up to. Then this is about you really needing to get out of that. Because the reality here is that for some of you, this may literally be you rejecting the offer from somebody that, you know, does truly have feelings for you, but they may have hurt you before. Or you may be focused on an ex who has hurt you, which would show why the Five of Wands fell out. If I could fucking talk right. Let me slow down here, okay? But the Queen of Swords is always focused on how the partner has hurt her. You know, she's cold, she's shut off, she is in too much pain. And there may be, you know, this offer coming through, but it's like, I don't know if I want to accept that, you know, but then that may be where the apology is coming through. Like, I'm sorry, right? I'm sorry that I hurt you in a way where you feel like you weren't getting what you needed, but I want to give that to you now. And that's where the star is coming through, which is why we're looking at give this relationship a chance. You know, but you got to get out of the illusion of what this relationship isn't. You know, if we want to heal the issues, then, you know, we have to face reality and stop doing this routine. But it does look hopeful if you accept the apology. But that's only if this person is going to give you what you are wanting, because it's like they see it, but they're not giving it to you. But that could be because this is the other person, this is you. They're too focused on the pain that was experienced, which is why they can't accept the offer. But there are feelings there. And then the Ace of Pentacles, all right, not so bad. So finances and career could possibly be an issue here with the relationship. You know, the other part of that is it may be that when it comes to this relationship, because I'm looking at the Lovers and Temperance, you may be dealing with a person here who is needing to detach themselves from another relationship, right? The Lovers is in this deck is always going to show somebody who is tempted by somebody else, or, you know, looking at other people and not really making the choice when it comes to you. But the thing is with Temperance, things are starting to build here. Now, it may be that the career is the problem. Like, it may be people that work with your partner or work with you. It just depends, right? But this, though, I feel like, how do I put this with finances and career? It's like dealing with somebody who has financial issues because of possibly needing to get divorced or like breaking up with a person. You know, I don't necessarily feel like it's your finances and career. It may be the other person, you know, but the thing is this gets better. This does. It gets better. Things are starting to build here where I don't think that the other person is as much of an issue as they were before. The problem is with the Ten of Cups and then looking at the Page of Wands, you're still having to look past the fact that this is somebody that isn't happy with their relationship, is stepping out. I don't necessarily feel like because of Temperance that it's you not happy with this relationship and wanting to leave. I think that there is some deep consideration on whether or not this is something you want to be involved with. And again, I say this because the Lovers is kicking this off. I feel like you're dealing with a person here who needs to separate or needs to get a divorce because they're not happy with their relationship. The thing is this is you getting caught up in the passion and looking past that. The Page of Wands is always about looking past appearances and getting swept up in the passion. And then you move into a place with the Hermit where it's like, is this really what I want? Is this really what I want in my love life? Well, yeah, with the Ace of Pentacles, because you're talking about something that is more than sex. This is the beginning of something that could be very long lasting. I want more, and I want to see the beginning of this. But I do think that you're dealing with a person here who needs to let go of another, because if they don't, they may be looking at you as just the temptation, you know, but you're looking past all that though. But then you question if that's the right thing for you to do. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And then the King of Wands. And look at the two of you. There are these moments because of this situation, which may be putting a strain on this person in terms of their finances. Okay? And the thing is this isn't like an all-out no. When you look at the Eight of Pentacles, it's like, look, I can't play with you right now. I have to take care of these things. You know, maybe they're saying, look, I can't move forward with this until I take care of these situations or this issue with a relationship that they're not happy with. But the both of you look past that though, and like, I'm looking at you like, wow, man, for real? With the King of Wands coming out, whether you're dealing with a male or female, there is a lot of passion there. There is a lot of passion, a lot of that physical connection, but it's compassionate. Like I see him as a very loving person. And I think that this person wants to commit. But you need to really consider if this is something that you want to get involved with. The thing is with the Three of Wands, there are feelings there. It's like the both of you feel the same way about each other. And that is starting to build with Temperance. So, you know, this may be a temporary issue, but I'm still looking at this Ace of Pentacles and thinking, you know, these things can be overcome. But I think that this is also you wanting a realistic beginning from this person though too.